Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on these earrings, and these earrings are quatrefoils or caterfoils or quatrefoils. So take your pick on the pronunciation. I looked all over, and I got so many different pronunciations, so here it is. I usually think of it as a quatrefoil, but just in case you wanted other pronunciations, there you go. So here it is. It's like a little flower design. And this came about through the interlaced Mother's Day jewelry. So here's the bracelet. So when I made this bezel, this is sort of an example of it here. So when I made this bezel, this was the design right here. Actually, I think we held it square. So I wanted to do a square bezel on a round 14mm Rivoli. So this is what we did. And the back came out like this. It was kind of a happy little accident that it came out in this, this sort of design. So many of you liked it a lot, and I said I would revisit it, so we're revisiting. Okay, so here it is in the black, and with this one I have a 8.2mm Swarovski Chaton as the top, and here it is, so pretty in the aqua, so beautiful. And I'm using a pearl. This video we're going to do the 8mm bezeled pearl as the top. And here, this is that Swarovski Volcano color. I'm loving these gorgeous colors in Swarovski these days. They're just knocking my socks off. Really beautiful. So we're going to do this today. We're not going to do the 8.2mm Chaton part here, but we will do that next, I'm hoping on the next video, because I wanted to show you what's coming up. So here's another bezel, a star bezel, which I think is so pretty, and this one has the 8.2mm Chaton at the top, and this I think will be the next video. I've gotten many questions and requests to sort of go over how to bezel, how to count how many beads you need for the initial round of your bezel, how to make it fit properly. So I can't do it with this one because this one's not just a standard peyote bezel. We're going off a bit on this one, but this is a standard peyote bezel. And so I'll go over a whole bunch of stuff and give you some like common numbers and show you how to kind of, get your first round around pretty much any bead. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside. I'm going to clear these off. We'll get a materials list going and we'll get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell. All right, see you in a second. Let's get the materials list going. So you'll need two 14mm Rivolis, and these are in that volcano color. I will put all colors, amounts, beads, everything you need in the description box below the video, as I always do, as well as places you can purchase all the colors, all the beads, websites I love. I always do that, so please don't forget to click the down arrow, the show more. And I also put some stuff in there that I think of later or that I might have forgotten or whatever, tips, whatever. So we're going to make the mate to this one today, but I didn't have two more of these. So I just put out two of the volcano color. I need two 8mm pearls. These are the vintage gold. I think I call them antique gold in the video, but they're vintage gold. You'll need four of the little 3mm Swarovski Bicones. You need some 11.0 Delicas. I'm using the hex cut. You need some 15.0 seed beads, a few 11.0 seed beads. That's just for connecting the ear wire. You'll need some ear wires. I'm using the leverback. I have a little stop bead here. Size 8-pound Fireline, and you'll need a size 11, and you'll need a 12. I would make sure you have a 12 handy because you're getting into some little tiny spots on this one. Okay, so I think that's everything. So I'm going to clear the decks. Oh, and before we do that, don't forget Ringberry's big bead mat. This is the greenish gray one on the bottom. Here's the No More Oops bead tray. Links will be in the description box below the video for both of these, and I have a coupon code for 10% off on your Ringberry's bead mat. All right, so I'm going to clear the decks. I'm going to get started. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 40 inches of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave about a 12-inch tail. We're going to use that 12-inch tail to just do a little bit of beading on the back of the bezel. The rest of the thread will be doing the front and the rest of the bezel. Okay. Put on your needle and drop down to your thread. 7 Delicas and a 15.0. Let me pull one for that. 7 Delicas and a 15.0. 7 11.0 Delicas and a 15.0. 7 Delicas and a 15-0. So you have 4 groups of 7 Delicas and a 15-0. I'll drop those down. I'm going to sew those into a circle by sewing through the first Delica after my stop bead, like that. Just flip this around. Okay, this is what I have. Now I'm going to pick up a Delica, so I'm going to start a Peyote Bezel. I'm going to exiting here, skip this one, sew through the next one. I'll move my thumb in a second. And you just want to make sure that that bead sits up on top of the previous bead. Do that again, pick up a Delica, exiting here, skip this one, sew through the next one. Let's see, make sure that pops up. Like that. Pick up a Delica, exiting this one, skip the next one, sew through the next one. Now you're going to pick up 2 15-0s. Exiting here, just skip that 15-0 and sew through the next Delica. So I've put 2 15-0s on in the corner there. Pick up a Delica, skip a Delica, sew through the next Delica, Delica, skip a Delica, sew through the next Delica. You got it. Pick up a Delica, skip the next Delica, sew through the following Delica. Pick up 2 15-0s, skip the 15-0, sew through the next Delica. There we go. Okay, so you're going to do all the way around. So do that until you get to a couple of beads before that this corner 15-0, and we'll round the corner together. Okay, we're back. So coming down to the end. So here, Delica, through the next Delica, 2 15-0s. So here I'm exiting this Delica, I'm going to skip this 15-0, and I'm going to be stepping up at this point. So I have two 15-0s on my needle. I'm going to skip the 15-0 and sew through the next Delica and the one on the diagonal. Now I have my other corner on. Alright, so get to that point and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So let's keep going. So pick up a Delica. We're going to put another round of Delicas and 15-0s on. So pick up a Delica, sew through the next sticking out Delica, pick a Delica, sew through the next sticking out Delica, pick up a Delica, sew through the next 15-0, and then I want you to pick up a 15-0 and just sew through the next 15-0. So you're going to put a 15-0 in between those 2 15-0s you put on in the previous round, just like that. Keep going. Delica, sew through the next Delica, Delica, sew through the next Delica, Delica, sew through the next Delica, Delica, sew through the next 15-0, pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0. So you put that 15-0 right there in between those two, and now just continue around. So do that for the next 2 corners, and then meet me back here like towards the end of the corner, and we'll continue together. Okay, coming around, putting on a Delica, Delica through the 15-0, 15-0 through the next 15-0 to get my point there, and then I'm going to pick up a Delica. And here's where I'm going to step up. So I'm skipping this Delica, and I'm going to sew through this one, and I'll move my finger in a second, and the one on the diagonal. And you can pull a little at this point, put your thumb in. It's not really going to curve yet. Alright, again, Delica, Delica. Now you're going to put a 15-0 through the next 15-0, and then another 15-0 through the next 15-0. See what we have here? So we're sort of building up that corner. Delica through the next Delica, 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 15-0, 15-0. That's what it looks like. Do that all the way around. Meet me back here as you approach the end, and we'll continue. Okay, coming down to the end, and so I've done that corner, and I'm going to step up. So here I'm exiting this Delica right here. So I'm going to skip the next one and sew through the next Delica and the one on the diagonal. Now I'm going to give it a little pull. This is what I'm looking like so far. Now what you can do at this point is you can take your stop bead off and put a round of 15-0s on the back. So here I'm just going to thread a needle. Okay. I'm just holding it on my finger. So I'm exiting a Delica here. I want to just sew through that next 15-0. I want to get up to the front, you know, the inside part of the bezel. And then I'm just going to pick up a 15-0, sew through the next Delica. I'm going to not pull tight on this. I just want to get this completed on this side. There. Just putting a 15-0 between each sticking out bead. When I get to the corners, you want to fit a 15-0 through the next 15-0. And if you have to, you can just kind of pull it, like push it with your finger into place. 15-0 through the next Delica, and that's how you're going to get that back on. So just continue doing that around, and you know, we'll pull everything in a minute. We still have more to do on the other side. Okay, coming down to the last bead, so I'm exiting a Delica, so I'm just going to sew through that corner 15-0 and then the one on the diagonal. And this is a little different from the Mother's Day, just the sequence, the beads pretty much, everything else is the same. So then I'm just going to leave that for now, and I'm going to come to back to the other side and give it a little pull. I'm going to pop my stone in. It's not going to stay, but we're just going to just put it in there. That's just how it should be. Now we're going to start adding a round of 15-0s. So pick up a 15-0 and a 15-0. Another 15-0. I'm going to do this all the way around. You don't have to leave the stone at this point. I just find holding it in there with my thumb kind of, I don't know, feels kind of good holding it there. It holds the bezel, you know, it holds its shape a little bit. It's not going to stay. So I'm just going to sew all the way around, putting a 15-0 through every sticking out bead. Like that. So do that all the way around until you get to the end, and then we'll step up together. Okay, coming down to the end. So here I'm sewing through the next Delica, 15-0, sew through the next Delica, and the 15-0 on the diagonal. I know it seems like it's not going to fit, but don't you worry, it will. Okay, so there we are. Now we're going to pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0. Like that. And then I want you just to sew through the next two up 15-0s. So this one and this one without any beads on your needle. I just want to pull the corner in. See how that pulls it in? Then you're going to pick up a 15-0. Sew through the next 15-0. pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0, pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0. So you're putting these 3 15-0s on in the center here of each side, and then you're just going to sew through the next 2 15-0s, so the next 2 up beads together to pull them together. You're not going to see any thread when we're done, like that. Pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0, pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0. Again. Now we've come to the corner. You're going to sew through the next up 15-0 and the next one, the up bead, without any beads on your needle, just to pull the corner in. Then you're going to do that all the way around till you get to around here, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, so I've come around that final corner. So here I've sewn through these 2 15-0s. Now you're going to pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0, pick up a 15-0 and step up. So here, exiting this one, sew through this one and the one on the diagonal. I know it looks like it's never going to become a quatrefoil, but I promise you it will. We're getting there. All right, so I'm just going to let you get to this point in case you need to catch up or anything, and then come on back and we'll do the next round. Okay, we're back. So now, as I said before, you have these 3 15-0s. Now let me see if I'm going to pull in super tight. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 up beads on each side. So I want to just work with those up beads. So I have to get from this up bead to this one. So to do that, I need to sew through my beads. And I'm going to sew through each bead on the, or 2 on the diagonal. So I'm just going to go through this one, through this one, up through this one, through this one. See how I'm sewing everything on the diagonal? And if you can get it, do 2 at once on the diagonal. That's going to put me right where I want to be. Right through that bead, and pick up a 15-0. Sew through the next 15-0, pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0. And don't hesitate to put on, oops, don't get twisted, there we go. Don't hesitate to use a size 12 beading needle here. So now I want to get to these 3, so this one, do the same thing that I just did for that side, sew through this one. I'm going to do 2 now. Sew through these 2 on the diagonal. As long as you're going on the diagonal, you're not going to put any, you're not going to show any thread. You can do 2 at a time if you can. If not, just do them 1 at a time and take your time. So here I am. I'm in place again. Pick up a 15-0. Sew through the next 15-0. Pick up a 15-0. And sew through the next 15-0. Okay, so that's going to reduce those 3 beads to 2. So we're going to end up putting 1 more bead through the next round, and you see it's starting to turn to look kind of like a quatrefoil. Okay, so do that, get these done till you come around, to around this side somewhere, and then we'll continue together. All right, see if you. So now I've gotten all my sides to where I have just 2 beads here, up beads sticking out, and we're going to put 1 in between each of those 2. So again, we have to needle our way around till I get to this bead now. So again, exiting this guy, just going to sew on the diagonal. Now at this point, you should be using your size 12 beading needle, because it's very easy to break these beads. They're not flexible. All right, so I'm just going on the diagonal, just sewing through the beads. I mean, I'd love to, well, I'm gonna get through those 3. Don't push it, because you'll be very sorry if you break a bead. Sometimes I do it and then the bead breaks. I'm like, why did I do that? Okay, so there's my center one on. You're just gonna do that all the way around. And the size 12 beading needle goes through so easily. These two. And you can like push them down as you go. 15-0 through the sky. Okay, so there you go. Now we're starting to look like the design it's supposed to be. So just go around, put one here, go around and put one here, and then come on back and we'll continue. Coming down to my very last bead. So exiting here, sewing through this one, and pull it in, and there you go. We have our pretty design. And it's funny how you don't see it, it seems like it's never going to happen, and all of a sudden you get the last bead on and it looks really pretty. All right, so all you want to do at this point is you want to move your threads away from the front of the bezel. You can go through the beads again, but I mean, seriously, I don't think you need to. There's so much stuff going on here. You've gone through the beads so many times, so now I just want to move my thread through the beads until I get to the I want to get to the Delicas. So I'm just moving my thread on the diagonal through all the 15-0s until I just want to get to the side. So here, whoops. Here I am. I'm exiting a 15-0. I just want to move it out of the way. There you go. So that gets it out of the way. You can just leave one of the threads on, and we'll use it to attach the pearl when we bezel the pearl. All right? Okay, so I hope you had fun with that. I love these. They're so much fun. So get that done and come on back and we'll bezel the pearl. Okay, we're back, so let's bezel the pearl. So thread your needle with a couple of feet, maybe a little less than a couple of feet of thread. Put on a stop bead about halfway down. Use 1/2 for one side of the pearl and 1/2 for the other. So I've put on my needle 22 11-0 Delicas. I'm going to make them into a circle. Sew up a couple of beads past the stop bead. Like that. And I'm going to do a Peyote Bezel. So exiting this bead, skipping one, sewing through the next one. Make sure that bead pops up on the previous one. There we go. Again, skipping one, sewing through the next one. I'm just going to do that all the way around and step up, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, about to step up. Exiting here, skip this one, sew through this one and the one on the diagonal. You're experts at this by now. Like that. Now we have the Delicas on. So what you're going to do at this point, just pull my thread a little bit, is going to pick up a 15-0 and sew through each up bead or sticking out Delica. Just like that, all the way around. And then you're going to step up on this side, and then you're going to take the stop bead off this side, thread your needle, and put a round of 15-0s on this side. So you'll have a round of 15-0s on this side and a round of 15-0s on the other side. And then meet me back here and we'll put the pearl in. It's back for a second. So if you're having trouble holding it, you can just slide it onto a pencil. Just make sure you're not stretching it. You just want it to be very loose, but this is just an easy way to keep it, round and, and hold it so it's just not, you're not squishing it and it's not slipping out of your hand. All right, so just do that. And then come on back when you finish that side and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So I'm done with my 15-0s. And just a note, just be careful that you don't miss a Delica when you're sewing through. I did, so I had to take it out. I mean, it's not much to take out, but just, be careful of that. So here I'm exiting this 15-0. I'm just going to move my needle through the Delicas until I get to a center Delica, like right there. And I'm going to pop the pearl in with the hole right under where my thread is coming out of. And you want it to be snug, so if it is, that's good. Okay, so then you're just going to sew through the pearl, through the hole of the pearl, out the other side. Try to get like in between a couple of beads, just like that. Give it a pull, and then you want to pull the other side so that's tight, so you tighten up those beads as well. I'm going to pull like that. Now you want to sew around your beads. So here I've just come through a couple of beads, in between, excuse me. And now I'm just going to sew through several Delicas on the diagonal just to tighten it up. Might be a little bit loose, and it might not be. You never know. It just depends on how tight you bead. And then you're going to take this thread and you want to sew this thread in. So sew all the way around the pearl until it's nice and snug, and there you go. You have the top of the earring. All right, so get that done and then come on back and we'll put the earring together. Okay, we're back, so let's attach. So I had 4 threads altogether, 2 coming out of each bezel. So I picked 2 that I want to use, and this is how you're going to choose them. You want this to be the top, so this is the top, this point, and you want to attach it to the pearl. So I left 1 thread on the pearl to put, if you want to put an ear wire on, to put the ear wire on. If you're doing a post, you could just cut this off, but I'll do the ear wire for those of you who want to do ear wire. And then this bezel, I'll show you where I want the thread to come out for attaching. So my thread is exiting this Delica down here. I want to get to this Delica. So this Delica, just to give you like a sense of where it is, it's the first Delica here on the front of the bezel after this 15-0. So this Delica, the 15-0, and this Delica, I want to start here. So I'm here, so I'm just going to move my thread right here. So it's very easy to move the thread to where you want it to be. So now it's where I want it. I'm going to pick up a 3mm bicone, and then all I'm going to do is find a center Delica, and I want to keep this as close to the top as possible. So I just picked a center Delica that's pretty much under that, like that. And then you're going to pick up another 3mm bicone and sew through that other Delica that's on the other side of that 15-0. Let me just get it in place and then I'll hold it. So you see, so I'm coming through this one. I went through the pearl, and now I'm putting on another bicone and going through that other Delica on the other side. And you see how that places the 2 bicones. Let me pull out a little bit. That places the 2 bicones on. And then all you're going to do at this point is reinforce these, and the way you're going to do that is you're just going to sew through some beads. So here I'm going to sew, let's see, we can go through this one, and this one. Just use your beads to come around, and this one. And then so if I'm exiting this one right here, see where my thread is coming out, just sew through this one. That's the one where, and use your size 12 beading needle here. Sew through this one. Okay, back up through the 3mm bicone. across the Delica, back down this guy, and you're going to pull it tight in a second, and then through this one. So I've just come around again and pull really tight, and that will tighten up your connection, and that's how it looks. All right, and then you want, of course, you want to sew around your bezel and then reverse direction so that, you know, this is nice and tight. So, you know, through this guy, through another one, and so on, and just keep going around reverse direction, go around reverse direction until you feel it's nice and tight and sturdy, and there you go. All right, so get that done, and then we'll put the ear hook on, and we'll have earrings. Back, so let's add the ear hook. So this one I added a thread. So the way I did that is I just went back a few beads and I put a thread with a stop bead. This is kind of a small thread. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you're coming out of here, and let me pull this so you can see. So here's the face of my earring. This bead, I'm going to use this bead right here and this bead. So do you see, here's the ditch, here's this bead, and this bead. So I've sewn through this one, my thread is coming out here. I'm going to pick up an 11/0, the ear wire, and an 11/0, and I'm just going to skip the ditch and sew through the next bead, and that is going to put my ear wire on, just like that. Very simple connection. And now, so what I like to do is make sure that my ear wire sits right flush up against the opening right there, and that way it really secures it nicely. Then I'm just going to turn around, so I'm just going to pick some Delicas to turn around like that. So here I've turned around, and then I'm going to sew through this guy. That's the one where my ear wire is ear wire is attached. Then through the ear wire, the 11/0 on the ear wire, and the 11/0 on the other side, and you're going to pull it all in a second, and then back down through this one. So that's the one, the other Delica we used to attach it, and see how nicely that attaches your ear wire. And then all you want to do is sew around, so of course take this stop bead off, sew your thread in, sew around reverse direction. If you can get through again, do that. Make sure you pull it nice and tight, and then when you sew around here in reverse direction before you cut your threads, you know, this sometimes you can get it so that this won't pull up if you really do it nice and snug, and that way it really holds that wire in there and you're not pulling on the thread. All right, so there's our earring. Let me pull out a little bit. Here are the others. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have fun making these. I had so much fun with these. It's so pretty. I think this would make a stunning necklace. Just do a little peyote bezel, or a little, like the interlace bezel, a little one right here. Or you can even use this whole piece as a necklace. Or I was thinking, what about a bracelet that had 4 stations, you know, with, so you have 4 stations with something connecting them. I'm thinking about that. I think that would be so pretty. So, you know, that's a possibility as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to look for the bezel video coming up next, and I'll see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.